paper on the Kandariya Mahadev, an Indian temple, the Kandariya Mahadev. So here it is exactly below, and the finial of the Shikhara lies exactly above the center, and there is this vertical axis which passes from the heaven and to earth to heaven, like that. This is the axis on which also Kumaraswamy has written in detail. Now in the Lakshmana temple, you can see that this is the Lakshmana temple where there is an image of Vishnu Vaikuntha. The image is on the side. It is not exactly in the center like this. This is not only in the Lakshman temple like this, but also in the temples of Jinas, the Tirthankaras, Parshvanath and Adinath and others. They are not in the center exactly, because these are the images of manifest forms, Sakala images. This would be Nishkala, Shivalinga. So it is exactly below the spire. There is that vertical axis going. Now if there is a symbol like Shaligram, we do not know, but that would be in the center of just below the spire. And I'm saying this on the basis of my observation on ground plan of several medieval temples built according to the Vastu Shastra tradition. And the temple architect, the late Mr. Hari Prasad Sopura, confirmed this practice in present times also, saying that only these Nishkala Linga would be below the spire where is this, the Sakala images. They will not be in the center below the finial. Because Linga is the sign of undifferentiated Supreme Being. Next, please. In the Upanishads, Brahman is likened to a spider. Like a spider in its web, the Bindu at the center of the yantra, Shivalinga in the nucleus of the Garbhagruha is connected with each part of the temple. It is the radiating source of all energy. It's a single principle from which everything issues and to which everything is connected. Like a spider which is connected in its web, which it has built itself. Next, please. Now, Shivalinga is installed, as I said, exactly in the center of the dark cave-like Garbhagruha, which is symbolically the womb house of creation and reabsorption. It is the nucleus of the sanctum, the metaphysical and physical center of the temple. And it is with Linga as the center that the centrifugal movement radiates in the four cardinal directions of the sanctum. We can observe the doctrinal unfolding from the unmanifest Linga to manifest, unmanifest Sadashiva in the hall, Mahesha's Leela Murtis on this side, Andakasura Madamurti or Andakantaka, Shiva dancing, Shiva Natesha in the evening light, and Shiva Tripurantaka sending one arrow to vanquish the cities of three demons. So these are there, the Leela Murtis of Shiva, Shiva Linga, and Sadashiva in the hall. So it is, so Linga, the symbol of unmanifest Shiva, sends out its luminous influence through its manifest form of Mahesha and Rudra and other Murtis, as you will see. And I will see in the next slide this part of the temple, the south wall of the sanctum. Next, please. This is the hierarchical position which I was saying, hierarchy of your Mahesha, Andakantaka Murti of Shiva, Vishnu on Garuda, and Brahmaya. The size is small compared to the main Shiva Andakantaka. And we talked about that when showing the Shaiva system and the hierarchy which is implied in that. So the architect's familiarity with Shaiva doctrine is evident from the placement or sthana nirnaya of the icons. He not only represents the triple levels of manifestation, that is Shivalinga, Sadashiva and Mahesha, but also extends the scheme to include Vishnu and Brahma as the aspects of Shiva in this. And there are also couples here which can be the role of the couple, auspicious couples and also creepers. They are they flank the main cardinal niches in this place, and they may be interpreted as auspicious alankaras of fertility motives designed to protect the home house or Garbhagruha from evil influences. Next, please. And here we can see that the sanctum diagram is very meticulously planned. There are 8 Dikpalas, the regions of space, 8 Vasus or astral divinities. They are in the 8 direction. Then 12 Vyalas or griffins, 24 Mithunas, and 36 Surasundaris. All these are very well planned and the way they are illustrated, and Shiva's manifestations systematically placed on the 3 walls of the sanctum. And the sanctum is conceived as a mandala in some of these texts, particularly the Vayavya Samhita of the Shiva Puran and the Ishana Shiva Gurudeva Paddhati's Kriya Pada chapter. So it is a mandala like a consecrated space, and the plan of the sanctum with its numerous projections and recesses is similar in structure. I'm only showing this just for showing the similarity in design of the yantra, to point out also this Diggajas. There are these elephants of space, and in the Kandarya Mahadev also, it is not shown here, but below this Garbhagruha there are these Diggajas shown in the temple. So these 3-dimensional Sri Yantra supported on the back of the cosmic tortoise, just to show the similarity. Next, please. Now, worship of door divinities is important in the rituals of these Shaiva sects. There are mantras for threshold divinities, then for Ganga and Yamuna, the river goddesses, and for Dwarapala, Nandisha, and Mahakala. And after doing this, worship of the door divinities, then the aspirant performs rites for the removal of obstacles or vignas from the earth's atmosphere and heaven. Now, the sanctum of these temples is guarded on 8 corners by the Dikpalas, or the 8 regions of space. But the position of the Dikpalas agrees well with the prescription of the Vastu texts like Aparajita Pricha. But their significance can be understood from the ritual texts, which advise the removal of vignas and from the 8 directions, and mentally invoking and placing the Dikpalas there to guard against evils. So after performing these various rites, the aspirant enters the Garbhagruha Mandala, that is the word used in the text, sanctum in the form of the mandala. Next, please. Just the previous one. Now we will be going to the exterior part. We were in the interior so far, now in the exterior. Hundreds of figures of divinities and Surasundaris and Dikpalas, all are on the exterior walls of the temple. And Cunningham, who is one of the first persons who have written, apart from Colonel Burt, on the Khajuraho temples, he counted 646 figures only on the exterior of the temples, on the walls of the temples. And these divinities standing in Tribhanga, you see some of them here, they do not have the majesty of the great god Shiva, but they seem to represent the lesser aspects of Shiva, such as Vidyeshwaras and Mantreshwaras. They are like what the text says, pure or Shuddha beings whose mala or impurity is in high state of paripakva or ripeness and who are about to be emancipated, and they encircle the temple and perform angelic functions in helping the lower order of Pashus, that is us who are going around the temple, to ascend to the higher levels in this process, evolutionary process. And we will see this part now, where there are these serpent goddesses, one above the other in the corners. Other temples have serpent goddesses in Khajuraho, but they are not shown like this, except one temple, Dula Dev, but they are not very well positioned. But in the Kandarya Mahadev, not even in the Vishwanath temple, not in the Jain temples also. In the Lakshman temple, they are there, the serpent goddesses, but they are on the walls, the other parts of it. But here, very much in the corners, they are positioned, like one above the other. Next, please. Yeah, you can see this, one above the other, and just reminding of the Kundalini symbolism, which is connected with the snake goddess ascending as if. The devotee, next please, in his circumambulation, proceeds through various aspects of Shiva, the graded images of his manifestations, until he reaches the entrance of the sanctum, which is inside. This is the outside part. The Antarala, as it is called, I'll be showing you in the ground plan. The Sandhi Kshetra, or the passage which joins a hall and the sanctum. This is from outside. This is the hall part. You see the temple, when the devotee comes, he goes, this is the porch, then the mandapa, then the Mahamandapa or the Guda Mandapa, this part, and this is the sanctum part. And the part which joins the hall, the Mahamandapa and the sanctum, Garbhagriha, is this part, the juncture. So inside, the devotee stands before the divinity when he goes in the temple. And the architect has imaginatively placed sculptures of physical union on the outer wall, what we call Kapili or Sandhi Kshetra, corresponding to the Antarada. Next, please. Now, in Khajuraho, on the ground plans, you can distinguish the temples as temples which have inner pradakshina, and temples which, inner pradakshina, Sandhara temples, and temples without inner pradakshina. So when you go to, there are 4 important temples which have inner pradakshina. Whereas other temples like Devi Jagdampa or Vamana temple, they have no pradakshina inside. You just face the divinity there and take the pradakshina outside. I think people who are not so familiar with the site, I will say that there are 25 temples at Khajuraho, of which 10 are dedicated to Vishnu, 8 to Shiva, 1 to Chamshata Yoginis, which is an esoteric goddesses, then 1 to Surya, then 5 or more. I always refer to Maruti Nandanji saying that there may be more than 20 temples, at least Jain temples of Digambara sect. Yeah, but extent at least 5. So there are 25 temples, and of these 4 temples are of this Sandhara temples with inner pradakshina, and these are the Nirandhara temples. Now the architects have made the distinction in the placement of particularly the erotic figures on the Sandhara temples and the Nirandhara temples. On these temples, they have placed, as we saw in the previous slide, some of the erotic figures on the juncture wall, whereas here they put the divinities. Since I was not going to go into the subject of erotic sculpture in this, I did not bring those slides. I have just brought, slides to show the iconic scheme of the temple rather than on erotic figures. Otherwise, when I'm showing I'm showing other temples which do not have erotic figures here, but they have single divinities there. Devis or some divinities are there. Next, please. Next. So when you see the Kandarya Mahadev temple, they have shown these figures which are outside that Antarala, corresponding to the Antarala on the Kapili wall. And just as Tantric texts describe Kundalini yoga and secret doctrines in the erotic terminology of the Sandhya Bhasha or Sandha Bhasha, which would delude non-initiates, the architect priests of Khajuraho's three Sandhara temples, the three Hindu Sandhara temples, like Lakshmana, Vishwanath and the Kandarya Mahadev have used Sandha Bhasha on the juncture walls and attempted to communicate experiences of stages of meditation, as I have discussed in my book and articles, and I'm not going into detail here, but I'm just pointing it out. So this is the juncture wall of the Kandarya Mahadev, and by placing the erotic symbolism on the most vulnerable part, where the corners of the two structures meet, the architect has secured the building against the vignas or obstacles, and the erotic scene magically protects the building, empowered by the fertility symbolism of the scene and maybe the geometry of the head-down pose which is there. Next, please. The erotic motif is magico-defensive. It protects the building from obstacles, but over and above this function, through the significant placement on the juncture of the hall of devotees' jewels and the womb house of the divinity Shiva, the juncture of the phenomenal and the transcendental worlds, the architect priest conveys the non-dual state of timelessness in which there is neither day nor night, neither sun nor moon. Next, please. The matrikas around the temple